Welcome to KAAB online training for the site visit. The online training is composed of 3 parts, and I'd like to start by the first part, which is composed of overview of accreditation process and KAAB conditions and procedures. The first portion is composed of different titles, and I'd like to start by the overall procedure of KAAB accreditation. The accreditation procedure is clearly described in our conditions and procedure booklet. The school program applying for accreditation and KAAB will have close communication to each other to fulfill this step-by-step process. For the initial accreditation process, the school needs to furnish the material for application of its own, and it will be carefully reviewed by the committee, the quality of its materials and the necessary materials, that they're all there or not. If some areas of concerns or questions are raised, it will be sent back and the school needs to refurnish the materials that has been asked. And it could take several times, and it could also take a couple of years to furnish the materials that is required. Once the candidacy status is approved, the formal accreditation application will be submitted by the school. The formal application material will also be carefully reviewed by the committee, and it will have comments, and also it could raise some questions, or it could ask for supplemental materials to school to furnish further. Once they are all furnished and satisfactory, the selection of site visit team members will start, and by the school, the preparation for formal architectural program report will start. And obviously, it will take several months to prepare the formal architecture program report. It needs to be submitted to KAB before the set site visit date. Of course, the KAB on the other side will finalize the selection of the team members, and it will be communicated to the school whether they have any conflict of interest among the team members. There will be chance given to school program to raise some issues with the selected members. They have chance to change the member selection. Now, once the school gets ready for the APR submission, it will be submitted to the KAB, and it will be carefully reviewed again and ask for supplemental materials if necessary. And from this point on, that process will be handled by the finalized visit team members rather than the KAB committee. Once the date is set for the site visit, the school and KAB will closely communicate each other. At this time, not the KAB committee, but the team members. The team chair will take care of the responsibility of the communication with the school. They have to set up the exact date and also adjust or finalize the detailed site visit agenda. It will be a very important issue to communicate closely with the school at that time. Once everything is agreed and everything processed on time, the site visit will occur. The site visit is the key component for the whole process of accreditation. Therefore, it is very important that correct procedural elements are met with the required components in it. Once the site visit is performed, the visiting team report and confidential recommendation will be furnished by the team during the site visit. The overall outline and major decisions has to be made and done during the site visit. And once the site visit is over, the finalized version of the visiting team report and confidential recommendation furnished during the site visit will be submitted to KAAB Accrediting Committee. Then the accrediting committee reviews the final decision by the team members and make the term decisions and getting ready for it to deliver to board of directors of the KAAB. And as a final step, the board of directors will do the ratification of the final accreditation term. And it will be published and it will be conveyed to the school. Now the KAAB outline procedure for continuing accreditation has some abbreviated process than the initial accreditation process. The review of candidate's status will be omitted, and other formal application for the site visit will be abbreviated into a short one-page version, and the other process such as reviewing the APR and selection of team members, those will be the same as initial accreditation process. And review of APR by the team member and any supplemental materials needed will be asked to school, and the school needs to furnish it. And close communication between the team chair and the school is very important at this time. Once the APR is approved, the adjustment and finalizing of detailed site visit agenda will be performed, and the site visit will happen. Again, the process will same as the initial accreditation. The visiting team report and finished confidential recommendation during the site visit will be conveyed to the accrediting committee of KAAB, and the committee will review and make final decision of the term for the accreditation, and it will convey to the board of directors for the ratification. And also the continuing accreditation, the annual report process is very important. The school needs to furnish its annual report every year since the last accreditation, and those materials will be also an item for the team review to review for the making the judgment for the wholesome quality of how school has run their program for past several years, for the past accrediting term years. If the program neglects to submit an annual report, it will result in temporary suspension of accreditation, and annual review may result in focused site visit if deemed necessary. Let's look at site visit and follow-up procedures. Now, after the site visit, which lasts 3 nights and 4 days, after the writing of visiting team report, this visiting team report will be finished within 30 days of the site after the site visit. The confirmation of VTR contents needs to be done by the program, and the school program can actually request for any adjustments if necessary, but only factual errors can be adjusted, no other contents. Within 30 days after VTR completion, the review by the program within first 15 days of VTR completion and request for adjustments ratified within 50 days of submittal. Decision of accreditation is going to be made by the accreditation committee. Within 15 days after ratified VTR, the committee has to make the final decision. Ratification by the Board of Directors will occur next, and it will based on the Accreditation Committee's final decision. The next item that we'd like to look at is site visit agenda. It is very important element to understand what goes on during the site visit. Therefore, it is important to know that since the program can raise any appeal for procedural error, it is utmost important that the site visit must be carried under pre-agreed site visit agenda only. The team has obligation to resolve any procedural errors raised by the program during the site visit. The school program is liable for all outcome borne by not raising any appeals on procedural errors during site visit. Therefore, the school has to take closer look during the site visit and work together with the visit team. Key components of the site visit agenda are the following. The typical site visit agenda lasts for 4 days. It starts on Sunday, not to obstruct school administration and schoolwork. We usually start by Sunday. And also the reason for starting Sunday is to give care for the site visit teams, which are full-time members of the society who work on their jobs. We would like to less obstruct their working hours. That's the reason we start on Sunday. First, the entrance meeting by the team within the team is important, and the next agenda will be the move to school and entrance meeting held with faculty members. After that, meeting with alumni is important. The alumni can have vision and pros and cons of the program very well. Review of student works and outcome and academic records will occur. And by the end of the day, a daily meeting by team with dinner occurs. And that will adjourn the first day. The second day, first move to school program and entrance meeting with chief academic and administrative officers of the institution will occur. And after that agenda, meeting with enrolled students will occur in a big lecture hall usually. And the team lunch will occur within the school facility, and meeting with adjunct faculties and visiting lecturers will occur. And after the rest of the afternoon, tour of the facilities and observation of classes will occur. And the day will end by meeting within the team with the dinner. No other outside personnel can attend to this meeting. And of course, during the afternoon, the time will be spent for reviewing the records and exhibits of the student work. The third day is most important. The team moves to the school program, and after the short team meeting of itself, they will concentrate their work on reviewing the exhibits and student work. After the team lunch, the meeting with program faculty will occur, and this will be the last chance to raise any questions about any concerned areas of criteria that team are looking at. If there are any questions, it needs to be asked and give chance to defend for the program by the faculty members. In fact, it is the last day of review. And review of materials and first draft of VTR needs to be worked on right after that. And it will be in the afternoon already, and the team dinner will occur usually within the team room with a boxed dinner. The team has to try to complete the VTR, drafting the VTR and making all the comments on concerned and other areas of the criteria. And after that, completion of confidential recommendation needs to be drafted and finalized. At this time, all observers needs to be excused, and that will adjourn the third day. The final day of the morning, the exit meeting with program faculty will occur, And at that time, the overall results of the site visit will be reported. Right after that, the chief academic and administrative officers of the institution will occur. And the team room needs to be cleaned up and eradicate all the materials that's been left out by the team. And the team will move to a big lecture hall to meet all members of the program. And after the meeting, the team has to exit immediately and the team will disperse. There are some guidelines written in the handbook, and it is a very good idea to carry this handbook all the time at each sessions of the agenda. Some key elements are highlighted as follows. The first day, entrance meeting, discussion and understanding of the formality of the visit and announcement of the power and duty of the team chair needs to be announced. And the role of the observers needs to be clarified, and the team chair needs to frame out what kind of things can be done and not to be done by the observers. An important aspect of the first meeting is that each team members needs to be assigned of role and responsibilities of the criteria evaluating. And also team members will raise questions on regard to their previous review of APRs before coming to the school. Now the first agenda at the school, which is the meeting with the faculty members and introduction to each other and introduction of the program, and team member can raise any concerns or immediate questions at this time. While asking these questions, the team member can observe how faculty members react to the questions and observe the first reaction of the program, and the team will start to understand the strength and weakness of the program and overall impression. The next agenda will be meeting with the alumni. Try to promote comments on program's strength and positive aspects first. Use this opportunity to understand program characteristics. It's very important to do this at first. And naturally, the alumni will come to discussion on how to improve the program and the elements that is lacking in the program to improve the school better. It would be a great observation to record those. And the team meeting over dinner will occur. And the second day, the entrance meeting with the president and the executive officers of the university occurs at the first agenda. The team chair has to announce and introduce the team members, and also introduction of KAAB's roles, and the meaning of accreditation and site visit needs to be announced formally. At this time, the status of the architectural program and its role reviewed within the community of the entire university needs to be observed. And the time should spend more on listening to what president has to say on the architecture program and its own university. The next agenda will be meeting with the students. First, the team chair needs to introduce KAAB and accreditation visit and its implication. And also, first, it's a good idea to start promoting, giving comments on the strength and positive of the school. Then the students will open their opinions, giving the program characteristics and positiveness of the school. Now, program support for extracurriculum and community services and other social service works, and seminars and lectures, extracurricular works needs to be carefully observed by students' opinions and expressions. And overall impression on students and connection to the program needs to be carefully observed as well. And naturally, the students will talk about the lacking points of the program and the difficulties that students are experiencing during their schoolwork and the school program life. It will be a great observation to look at. And ask students about suggestions to improve program. And try to minimize comments by the team members, but promote students to speak out. The next agenda will be meeting with the visiting professors and lecturers, the adjunct positions. The teaching positions considered as not a full-time employee needs to participate in this session. First, try to promote comments on program's strength and positive aspects first, and to confirm whether visiting professors and lecturers carry on his or her course according to the intended goal of the course. Try to understand what the overall program goals are and the role in them. Composition of the visiting professors in terms of university they graduated, as well as the characteristics and merits and efficiency. Collect comments and advice on how to improve the program. It would be a good idea to listen to them and get some idea of how they understand the program and pros and cons of the current program's characteristics. The tour of the facilities occur as a next agenda, and observation of studio, lecture, and classes will occur freely during that afternoon as necessary. Team members will return back immediately to team room to continue their review of the exhibit. And again, the day will end by team meeting over dinner. The third day will start by the team meeting, and meeting with the program faculty members occur in the early afternoon, and it will be the very important agenda of the whole site visit. It will be last opportunity to defend itself before the conclusion of the visit. So the program faculties will try their best in defending themselves. Teams should ask questions regarding the items that are deemed to be unsatisfactory or not sufficient. The team chair must notify the program of last chance of defense. And also it is suggested that the list of questions should be asked by team chair or a designated member within the team, not to disclose each team member's divided task of evaluating criteria. The final review of the exhibit will occur after adjourning the meeting with the faculty. The rest of the afternoon will be spent individually by the team members. Some team members will definitely start on drafting their VTR comments from this point on. And meeting over dinner is very important, and usually it will last for several hours. The team members must finalize their draft comments of the VTR. Finalizing VTR is the rest of the day's agenda. It is highly recommended that she or she should make every effort to reach a consensus of the team members in the deliberations of each and every items on a VTR template. If it appears to be extremely difficult to reach a consensus, the team chair may choose to arbitrate or take vote. The team chair may also opt to exclude observers in the discussion if necessary. On completion of the draft VTR, the summary of the accreditation visit on the first page of the VTR must be prepared for the purpose of presentation to the program next day, and usually this portion is done by the team chair. All the criteria needs to be carefully reviewed, and some comments needs to be written down by the tone of the team, and needs to be carefully edited so that all team members agrees on it, or majority at least agrees on those texts. Gathering of those texts and editing will take quite a lot time to the degree that all team members agree. Now, after the finalizing the VTR, the confidential recommendation needs to be worked out. and all observers are excused for this process, because strictly the confidential recommendation needs to be within the team members, not to be disclosed to anyone other than the team members itself. The fourth day morning, the first agenda will be meeting with faculty members and present the summary page of the accreditation visit result. Team has no responsibility to respond. The school faculty may raise questions or ask, but again, the team members don't have any responsibility to respond, and it is recommended that not to respond any of it. The next agenda will be exit meeting with the president and executives of the university, and similar process will occur. The head of the university or the executive members may raise a question on the result of the review, but it is recommended that no comments on any of the raised questions. After that process, the team room needs to be cleaned up, and any leftover notes or sensitive materials that is written by the team needs to be eradicated. Now the team will leave with their bags and everything ready to go. The team will move to exit meeting venue and meet with all members of the program. It is suggested to leave the room as soon as all members of the school meeting. The contents of the all members meeting will be similar to the previous one. Brief on overall result of the site visit, but not to mention any of confidential recommendation terms, but try to start the meeting by complimenting the hard work prepared for the school and the students. The next item will be dispersion of the visit team. It will be by the lunchtime, and usually the team member will gather for a lunch, but it needs to occur without any outside members of the team, within only the team, and definitely outside of the school vicinity. The members should also be informed of the post-visit schedule and the calendar. The team chair must announce the things to follow up after the dispersion of the team. Now the site team's responsibilities and protocols will be looked at. Site visit of the KAAB is not unilateral evaluation, but a two-way peer evaluation carried on in collaboration with the program to be reviewed. So the program is expected to participate in the process. Visit team members must not be authoritative, but maintain positive attitude and encourage communication with the program. It is important to note the key characteristics of the KAAB accreditation. It is a social service, relies on active participation of voluntary visit members. The programs being accredited are encouraged to actively participate in the assessment process and make every effort to persuade visit team members. Not only the visit team, but the program being accredited must be well prepared with a deep understanding of conditions and procedures of KAAB and in complete agreement with the contents. The conditions for accreditation is aimed for sufficient internship capabilities rather than an expected performance by a professional architect. Also key to remember, team members must be fully aware of the conditions and procedure of the KAAB, and information and documents obtained before, during, and after the site visit must be kept strictly confidential. And also it is important that the team chair has responsibility of coordinating and approval of team room preparation before site visit starts. And also, all review must be based on team members' own judgment, although it must be constantly reminded that all review opinions form a visit team's collective review. All team's members are to use his or her own personal computer and supplies during the visit. They shouldn't expect the school program to provide all the supplies for them. Team members must consider site visit as a volunteer to contribute for program's further growth. Also reminded that all members' conduct must be represent the KAAB's best interest. Observers are not supposed to participate in final assessment process. The team chair has full right to dismiss observer at any time during the visit if necessary. If team members' opinion divide, majority vote must be utilized. It is important to provide chance to defend any questionable item by school program before making final assessments. It is important that all assessment must be made to complete within the period of the site visit, and it is important because it is borne by the fact that architectural studies are mainly relying on live models and drawings. Therefore, all decisions and collective schoolwork needs to be at present at making all the decisions and finalizing it. As soon as team leaves the team room, those live material tend to deteriorate. That's the reason all assessments must be made to complete within the period of the site visit. Violation to the protocol may constitute a serious procedural error and may defame the character of the KAAB. And also, violation of protocol may be reflected on the program's assessment of the visit team, and the program may raise a serious question in regard to the overall outcome itself, due to some errors made in the process and in procedural elements. And there are other site visit protocols outlined, and they are as follows. For instance, personal phones must be turned off, not to be muted. Other than brief break time, phones shouldn't be used by the team members. And it is very important that cooperate with team chair, and the team members needs to cooperate each other. Now we will look at team room preparation. The team room has to be prepared in creative and effective ways of displaying curriculum and student works. Outcome rely on program's own discretion. The KAAB does not outline the methods and amount of work needs to be displayed in written text. As soon as it occurs, all review will become identical. Therefore, it depends on program's discretion on how and how much of the work are displayed in what order. Now, actual work samples must be from past one school calendar year, usually past 2 semesters of the time of the site visit. The team room must be prepared within the program or nearby. It is definitely not recommended to distance itself away from the architecture program. The visit agenda and CVs of the team members must be disclosed at team room. Student performance criteria is comprised of following 2 levels of achievement levels. First is understanding, and the second is ability. The ability is students must be capable of manipulating and relating specific information acquired to achieve tasks. Students should be able to select the correct information suitable to the given situation and facilitate it to resolve the particular problems on hand. Following kinds of student work outcome could serve as evidence for ability and understanding achievement levels of student performance criteria at the team room. Student work outcome in format of following items. Formats below must be specific in course syllabus, actually. For instance, term examinations and quizzes, answer sheets and questions can be the proof of student work, showing understanding or ability level. Also, teamworks and term papers and reports bearing student works can be qualified. Any array of design work outcome, such as visual works, drawings, models, and installations, can be counted as student work, showing ability or understanding level. Also, video footage showing students' presentation of own work can be taken in consideration for ability level. All samples of student work must be consisted of in groups of high pass and low pass student work samples. 2 levels. The team room must be a combined space for student works exhibition and team members conference. Before the site visit, it is important that the team chair must visit the team room in advance and confirm with the program on the status of team room preparation. It is highly recommended that the program must consult closely with the team chair on the degree of what and which and amount how the team room exhibit needs to be prepared. Secured for confidentiality is important. It is the team chair's responsibility to manage security. Also, furnished with the conference table large enough to accommodate all team members and observers. Furnished with enough chairs and office supplies and other miscellaneous supplies and fixtures may be furnished with a mutual agreement between the team chair and the program. No additional items are allowed in team room other than items listed above. Over preparing of the team room can affect the result of the review. It will be seen as a negative aspect. Course materials in the team room. It may be prudent to display the general electives and studio courses separately, but in a consistent manner and in such a way that the overall flow of the courses may be easily traced and cross-referenced. All sampling of student works must be consisted of works of 1 academic year prior to the site visit in groups of high pass and low pass. And usual elements that comprise with the student work are the following. Student work outcome. The output of student work must include course materials, quizzes, tests, and the related final output of the student work. Also textbooks, references, and lecture notes and other related course materials needs to be displayed. Educational field trip with statement of purpose and schedule stipulated in the course syllabus. Adequate number of student works samples in relation to the size of display space, number of courses to be displayed, and importance of material. Works in display must be the original copy. Sampling of high pass work must be pinned up using vertical surface, and low pass works must be stored within the team room or easily accessible area near the vicinity. Grades must be shown on each student work with indication of grade distribution of each of student works. All student work outcome of past accreditation term period must be stored and accessible in digital format. General cautions for lecture courses in display. Tests, quizzes, and answer sheets and reports must be sampled for display to represent a group of high and low scores. The rest must be stored safely and available at the request of the visiting team. Design presentation material must be original copies. If it is not possible to print out hard copies, presentation by means of digital equipment may be acceptable. In case of group work, credits for each contributor must be clearly marked. All student work outcome since the last accreditation visit must be stored in either real copies or in digital form. Digital images files must have an adequate level of resolution in either JPG or PDF format files. A computer that can show the image must be furnished within the team room. Sampling of high-pass work must be pinned up using vertical surface, and low-pass works must be stored within the team room or easily accessible area. Again, general cautions for design studio courses in display. Only the drawings and model originally made for class presentation can be displayed. It is prohibited to rework or reproduce for the sake of the accreditation visit. In case of group work, credits for each contributor must be marked. If a student class was divided into separate groups to work on a project with the same goal and the content in the same academic year, the program may use its discretion to select the outputs for the sake of efficiency and meaningful display. Contents and the extents of the display should be discussed with the visiting team chair prior to the visit, and it is recommended to furnish the process of the student design works as well, not only the final work outcome, not limited to the result. It is suggested that the team room not be crowded with too much student works in display. If it is, the team member may take too much time to review a simple item. All student work output since the last accreditation visit must be stored in either real copies or digital form. Sampling of high-pass work must be pinned up and low-pass work in nearby. Purpose of displaying faculty members' work? It is to help visiting team members to get acquainted with the faculty members' achievements. But caution, avoid excessive display of works. Also, works in display should be within past 3 years of works. And utilize existing actual works and samples. Avoid producing new display materials just for the sake of the site visit. The next item is conditions for accreditation. KAAB conditions are composed of following elements. The first will be KAAB perspective on architectural education, and the second will be self-assessment system of professional degree program and degree curriculum, student information, and so on and so forth. The first 2.1 category of criteria is to examine the overall philosophy and the background of institution that administers architectural education. The second portion of the criteria group is to examine the software and hardware resources equipped for the architectural education. And the third, which is the 2.9 student performance criteria, 26 criteria, is to examine the student's work outcome by the educational program, by the school. Those three big areas of criteria are closely examined collectively to assess the quality of its educational program. In total, there are 37 criteria. The first, perspectives on architectural education. There are 4 components. The first is architectural education and institution. It is a perspective from school's point of view how the educational program is administered. The program needs to exactly describe the point of view they have on APR as a written text. The second item is architecture education and the students. It is a chance to describe what kind of architectural education the institution is providing for the students from the point of view of students. For the best interest of students, the institution needs to describe the arrangements that they are maintaining and preparing for the best interest of students. The third item will be architecture education and the architect. It is a chance to describe from point of view of architects what kind of architectural education the institution is administering. It needs to describe extracurricular activities and chance to meet practicing architects and so on and so forth kind of things needs to be precisely described for the perspective of architects. The last one is for the architecture education and society. It is a chance to describe from a general public's point of view what kind of architectural educational program that the institution is providing. The next item is self-assessment system of professional degree program. Professional program must maintain a self-assessment system and meet to long-term strategic plan to attain educational objectives and continue to improve. It must include composition of faculty members and student recruiting plan, survey, and reflection of opinions of graduates. A mere class evaluation alone is not sufficient to assess the overall achievement of the program's objectives. The text must describe the program's self-assessment procedure to pursue educational objectives. Systematic and periodic means of collecting and utilizing opinions of faculty members, students, adjunct faculties, graduates, and other third-party members to improve the program. Appropriate analysis and evidence of application for improvements from class evaluation materials for core classes. Mid to long-term strategic plans for continuing improvement. Analysis between self-assessment outcome and earlier strategic plans. Above items are kind of things that needs to be included for this chapter. The next criteria is degree and curriculum. The professional degree program's curriculum must be arranged in such a way that graduates of the program have the ability to think critically and compete successfully in the context of fast-changing society. The program's quality should not be compromised by any incoming transfer students by program's systematic arrangements. That means any incoming transfer students should not dilute the quality needs to be maintained for the program. Design studios must allow settings for one-to-one interactive tutorial format, and the total teaching credit hours for design studio must be minimum of 30% of total credit hours required for the degree. And following items are the smaller chapters that needs to be described. First, degree conferred and description of the degree. And second, description of the frame of curriculums including liberal arts subjects, mandatory and elective subjects. Matrix to demonstrate a systematic structure for completion of coursework toward the professional degree and management system of academic record of each individual students. A system of monitoring each student's curriculum. A curriculum objectives for each academic year and different levels of students. And description of each studio class and lecture class, as well as a relationship between the classes, needs to be clearly in context, in description. The next item of criteria is student information. The program must admit qualified students and provide them with every opportunity to learn in a rich educational environment. The following items needs to be described in APR. First of all, means and criteria of admitting incoming transfer students in accordance with the program characteristics or educational goal. And second, for master degree program, additional information of educational content for incoming transfer students past bachelor degree level, amount and kinds of admitted course credits needs to be described. And also, statistics on the quota of students, number of registrants, number of transfer students by class or academic year, semester, and overall number. And also number of students who passed and failed, and the ratio of pass to fail by class or academic year and overall number. And also the ratio of faculty to number of students and the basic data for ratio calculation. Distribution of leaflets or booklets to introduce the accrediting system for professional degree programs for prospective students and parents. And lastly, proof that the program provided students with opportunities for field trips and group activities in and out of school. All those information needs to be precisely maintained and administered. That way, it is a chance to show the program is taking care of understanding a full dynamics of the student body. The next item of criteria is physical and information resources. Professional degree programs must have appropriate physical and information resources to support efficient architectural education. Space appropriate for one-to-one tutorial setting, promoting interactive design studio education. And also studio appropriate for design presentation, review, display of works, and group discussion. And space and facilities appropriate for information technology courses and printing needs. And space facilities appropriate for modeling exercises. Status of available information technology resources, other equipments exclusive to the program. And status of information resources, including means of consistent updates and management. And status of other physical resources equipped for the program. And 2.7, financial resources criteria. Professional degree program must disclose information on the financial statement as well as financial support given by the institution to other comparable programs within same institution. Program budget, endowments, scholarships, and other related items needs to be listed. Also, annual expenditure per undergraduate and graduate architecture students compared to the students of the other comparable programs in the institution will be efficient to understand. And research development is another criteria. The program must describe the academic and faculty research activities that enhance the quality of education in support of the mission of the program and demonstrate the achievement of the activities. List of research projects and respective grants, and demonstration of the relationship between the research and design projects and course offered for the program in support of the program mission and curriculum. So that accrediting criteria also wants to look at how faculty members and program administrator are developing constantly to maintain their qualities. Now, conditions for accreditation 2.9 is the student performance criteria. There are 26 criteria in total, and it is a revised version of 2018. It is composed of 4 categories. The first category is critical thinking in architecture, and design, and engineering technology, and professional practice. That concludes the first portion of the KAAB site visit team online training.